Welcome to another episode of the NYLTA.com podcast, where we talk about all things regarding the New York LLC Transparency Act and how it applies to business owners. My name is Tiffany Colon, and I am the COO here at NYLTA.com.
And my name is Ryan DeFreitas, and I am the Chief Executive Officer of NYLTA.com. So what do we got on the list today?
So for today, we are discussing domestic LLCs.
Ooh, okay.
And what that means for New Yorkers, New York business owners.
Yeah.
How does this law apply to them?
Okay.
Does it apply to them? All the above.
Right. So number one, they don't have to file, right? Yet. Or as of now.
As of now.
So
under current guidance.
Right. Under current guidance. Now,
which is ever evolving, ever changing.
Correct. So the law stands as it was written, but the guidance was issued by the New York Department of State. So the New York Department of State tells them who, when to file this, that they give them the guidance.
Right.
Now,
they're the ones who implement.
Correct.
Yeah.
So the challenge was, right, prior to January 1st, remember when we found out on December 31st, the New York, Kathy Hochul vetoed the law, which is the S-8432 bill. And it says now the guidance was issued that domestic companies, meaning any American business, not just New York. If you're a business in California and you're doing business in New York, you do not need to file as of right now.
Correct.
Now, the challenge is, what do you mean as of right now, right? When, there's a lot of uncertainty.
Yeah.
So we poise individuals to be on high alert, because as this new law starts getting traction, when does the New York Department of State give more guidance? New portal comes out, who's actually exempt. So you have all these different things that are coming. So are they out of the filing window for now?
For now, right? Because as the law was written and intended, was that it was supposed to be all New York LLCs.
Yeah.
Including ones who had a formation outside of the state of New York, those doing business in New York. And like you mentioned, on December 19th is when Governor Kathy Hochul vetoed the bill to separate this particular law away from the Corporate Transparency Act.
Right, but
how it was defined.
And at that point, December 19th, we had, not even us, we were trying to get the inside scoop of, well, do domestic companies have to at least file an exemption of attestation? So when we were in the final stages of with the R&D team of building and doing this, we were struggling to say, okay, well, maybe we should build it this way in case of this, and we had a lot of challenges during that time. So we did it the right way, where it made sense for both foreign LLCs and domestic LLCs.
Sure.
So that challenges. So what I don't want to happen is that New Yorkers think they're completely
they're done.
They're off the hook.
Because what happens if we wake up tomorrow, or we wake up, next week, and the New York Department of State says, "All right, implementation is changing."
Here's where guidance goes now.
Yep. Now we're changing it to domestic LLCs.
Sure. And that's that. And now, how long does it take for individuals to find out whether their CPA tells them? If they're not actively looking at this law, right, it could slip right past them. So that's why we here at NYLTA.com, we have a monitoring service.
Yeah.
So this monitoring service.
Yeah, we'll go into what is the monitoring service and what does it cover? Yeah.
So the monitoring service is specifically intended for domestic companies. Now, foreign LLCs get it with their filing as well. But for those that don't need to file, they should be, they're doing their day-to-day job. Do you think they're following the law? Probably not.
Probably not.
No. And again, listen, compliance for us is everything. But for most people, it's not on the radar. Let's be, I could be frank here, even though my name's Ryan. But listen, let's be honest. They're not watching this. So for a nominal fee, we are their backbone. We can guide them through all the processes. What's coming down the rabbit hole. Every single month they get some type of an email. They get blogs that they can read. It's very comprehensive what we're offering them with our monitoring service. It's not just a, hey, thank you, like a registered agent, and the registered agent just sends them something when something happens with their business. No, we're sending them every single month criteria, what's going on, what bills are coming out, what changed, what didn't change. So that's super valuable, especially when you have a very new law that can change at any time. Would you agree with that?
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
The monitoring service is so important for domestic companies
100%,
because, like you said, people they're not looking out for this law. They're busy doing what they need to do as business owners, and they don't have time for this.
No.
They don't have time for it.
Yeah. And I bet you a lot of them, if you ask them about the NYLTA law, they all have some type of negative aspect from it because of the federal BOIR.
Sure.
So, it's an overreach, it's this, it's that. And, listen, at the end of the day, we have to stay in compliance no matter what it is to still run our businesses. And that's the important part, right? Mm-hmm. So transparency on many levels is important. Do I think it's I don't think it's a big burden because people think there's so much behind it. But guess what? If you have a company, and most people have departments, larger entities that can do it. So it's very hassle-free. But for those business owners that are stuck in their day-to-day,
they don't have a compliance department.
There you go. So for them, it's a challenge.
And I think, in another episode, we'll absolutely cover why transparency is so important.
Yeah, for sure.
And why, some people might think it's an overreach, but what transparency actually means for business owners. Yeah. Because having an LLC and being an entrepreneur and being a business owner, it does come with responsibilities.
Yeah.
Because you're serving the public, you're serving the community, and there's guidelines and requirements that need to be followed to make sure everything is running smoothly and you're doing the right thing.
Right.
And because that's what it is. It's you want to make sure you're doing the right thing.
Absolutely. And listen, we don't have a crystal ball. We don't know when this can change, but we are prepared for when it does. And I think every LLC business owner needs to prepare. It's not something that's, should I not? When you have a company out there, and I'm sure there's other companies, but NYLTA.com was built specifically for this law. And I can say with confidence, there is no other organization out there that is dedicated to New York like we are. Period. No. We made a commitment that is part of our philosophy, that is part of our core values.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Something that we pride ourselves on was the fact that we keep up and have our departments doing research and all that. And we were first to market to be the backbone and to be those people there to help business owners.
Yeah.
We wanted to take action ahead of the curve, ahead of the game, because what we saw was that there wasn't enough information about what was going on and about the law.
And let's be honest, when there's any type of government rollout, there's very little education behind it. So this is why this company was built, is because we're not just a platform to help people file or help people. We're here to give them massive education. That way, this is a lasting impact, right? Now they can start. He tells her, and they could start spreading this to their friends. And, that's where people get the right information, because we know how quickly wrong information can get out there.
1,000%. And it's where can you find that kind of information?
100%. Absolutely.
You have to go really looking for it. And that's why on our website, on NYLTA.com, we have a frequently asked questions tab on the website where you can go and see if it applies to you. We have our compliance review. We have a contact us button. So if you have specific questions that pertain to, your business, we're there for you.
Yeah. And I think that's very important, right? When people see challenges like this, it's, oh my God, they get exhausted and, they don't have to do that anymore.
Yeah.
And that's very important. So domestic companies, you no longer have to file at this time. Just keep that in mind.
As of today, guidance stands.
As of today. Now, do we expect that to change? We expect it to evolve, which evolving has changes that come along. This is a brand new law. There's going to be more guidance as the New York Department of State gets settled in with this law. So why not get your free compliance review at NYLTA.com. Make sure you go through that process. Know where you stand. Know where your business is. If you're not as educated in domestic, foreign, we're there for you. This doesn't mean that you shouldn't know, you don't know. You know your business. Let us do our part in helping you. So this is another